Welcome back everyone to another Sunday garage video. I think it's time for another gear roundup. I've got a few little bits and bobs that I've been using over the past few months, so I thought I'd tell you all about them. Let's start with these Pando Carl Devil jeans. I had the Pando Carl Lead jeans. They're a different color. I think there's some slight variances, but now I've got two pairs. It's pretty much the only motorcycling bottoms I think I'll ever need. Between the two, I use them for every single ride I go on pretty much. And the thing that I absolutely love about jeans like this, they're super comfy and they've got nice stretchy panels above the knees and on the back. So especially on those days where I'm filming and stuff, I might ride for a bit, hop off the bike, and then I'm setting up a tripod and using the camera, back on the bike, loading it up, loading my bag up, and then off to the next spot. They're just absolutely perfect for that sort of thing. Now, obviously I'm not commuting as much now. I'm working from home like many other people, but that was another reason why I really liked these jeans. They're so comfy and they don't look too much like, you know, bulky motorcycle jeans, especially given that you can take the knee and hip armor out. So if you're just doing low speed stuff around town, that's what I would typically go with. So most days I didn't feel like there was any need to change out of them when I got to the office. And especially on those days where I was hopping between multiple offices and getting back on the bike, it's absolutely awesome not to have to change in and out of motorcycle gear all the time. I love how they look. I think I prefer this slightly darker version of the Carl jeans. The build quality is great and the price I think is reasonable, 249 euros if you buy direct from Pando. Like obviously that's a lot more than a pair of normal non-motorcycling jeans, but in terms of the fabric that goes into them and the complexity of manufacturing them, I think it's worth it. In fact, I know this isn't a comprehensive like abrasion test, but the other pair of jeans that they sent me before these ones, the Carl Lead, I did have a little spill in those ones. I borrowed a little 125 cafe racer off Sinis called the Bomber, and I was riding it through town and it was wet and I had to get on the brakes quickly, and I think I may have either hit you know, like a white line, or it was a bit slick because it hadn't rained much before, so there was a bit of dust on the road, and then as soon as it gets wet it gets really slippy. I'm not a massive fan of linked brakes, so any little bikes like that, the cheaper ones that don't have ABS, by law they've got to have at least one of the brake levers, either the, you know, the front brake lever or the pedal that operates both brakes at once. It's some stupid legality which I think is absolutely daft, and this is a prime example of why it's a problem. But I'd been riding my Street Twin for the days before and you know, used to the kind of brake pressure that you need to apply to the front and rear to stop quickly on that. And then yeah, jumped on the Sinis, had to brake, too much pressure on the brake pedal and it locked the front up and it just went from under me. I wasn't going fast at all, maybe like 10 miles an hour probably before the time I ended up on the floor. So as I said, not a massively comprehensive or challenging abrasion test for those jeans. Just a little slide on my backside and I pretty much just damaged the bar end and the foot peg on the bike, unfortunately. But the jeans look good as new, so that's a little bit of a testimonial to the quality of the fabric. Next up, or Nexx up as you might say, is the Nexx XG200. So I have the XG100R that I talked about in the last video. It's a full face helmet and it's absolutely perfect for that retro look, but also having a great seal around the visor so that there's not much wind noise. So if I'm on the motorway or if I'm vlogging and I want to get good audio in the mic without loads of wind noise at speed, then I really love that helmet. This is pretty much the opposite. I just wanted an off-road retro motocross style helmet. And yeah, obviously it does nothing in terms of stopping wind noise. I can't use it to vlog, of course, and I've erroneously done a couple of motorway rides with it. Even with earplugs, obviously it's highly unpleasant, but that's actually the beauty of it because it's been quite warm recently. And what I really like about this lid, if you're not doing motorway speeds, you know, if you're riding through town and you're at the traffic lights a lot, it's so good to have the ventilation of an open face helmet, but also have that chin bar, which is much safer in my opinion, especially if you face plant. I wear it with some Builtwell moto goggles. They fit nicely with it. Build quality is great. Love the lining, love the little pearlescent finish. It's pretty much my go-to helmet for, you know, any local little rides that I'm doing. Just looking online now, it looks like between 200 and 300 quid is the going rate, depending on what color and size you choose. Not the cheapest, not the most expensive, somewhere in the middle, and I personally think it's worth every penny. Now I also got these REV'IT Sand 3 gloves to kind of go with it because they've got a bit of an adventure off-road style, but look a bit, I mean, they're not retro, but they sort of match. With these, you get the typical REV'IT build quality. I always think it's really nicely made stuff, and I wear jackets. I've got some jeans, I've got loads of other gloves from REV'IT. Absolutely love their stuff. I love how it looks, but also it feels really nicely made. These have got a leather palm, but then on the back, it's mesh and then a bit of protection as well. So they're quite nice and cool. The only problem I do have with them is like sizing. I've got short fingers, wide hands, and the fingers tend to be quite long on the REV'IT gloves. So these are a medium and they're the right length. I hate having gloves that are too long and you've got a flappy bit on the end of your finger. It just feels all weird on the levers, doesn't it? So I opted to get the ones that are the appropriate finger length. But having slightly too wide hands for these, well, let me show you. Fortunately, they've got these red like pull loops on them. So when I pull them on, they're super tight, but when they're on, they fit perfectly. So if it's cold, it's not a problem because they just, you know, with a bit of a pull, they slip on fine. If, however, it's warm and a bit sweaty, and there's any level of friction between my hand and the gloves, they take me ages to get them on. They really do stick on. The time that I'm thinking of is when I went on the Tiger 900 launch to Morocco, took these and no other pair of gloves. Obviously, being an adventure bike, these are the right vibe. But on those trips, you're stopping and starting a lot, and especially doing my own filming and messing with GoPros, you want to whip your gloves off if you want to look on your phone or use the touch screen on the camera. Occasionally someone will say, right, let's get going. And I'll be like stuck there trying to get the gloves on. So look, definitely check the sizing if you can buy them in person, which is pretty rare nowadays. Then obviously trying them on first is good, or look for somewhere with a decent returns policy if you're buying online. I got mine from sportsbikeshop.co.uk. I think they're pretty good with that sort of thing, especially if you just try them on, leave the labels, and I'm sure they won't have any qualms with you sending them back. And the price is decent there, so I think the RRP is like 85 or something, and I think I got those for 75. Still quite a lot of money for gloves, but I think the REV'IT quality is pretty damn good. And then last up, this Kriega R15 bag. I absolutely love this bag. The main reason being is that my main backpack is this one from Thule. And this is great. It's got compartments for absolutely all of my camera gear. There's a camera thing here. There's a tripod holder here. There's a laptop thing in the back. It's waterproof for your camera. It's got like reinforcement for the laptop pocket so that your laptop doesn't get smashed. It's got an iPad pocket as well as a laptop pocket. But it's just so bloody massive. It needs to be to carry all that stuff, and it's absolutely amazing to be able to ride a motorcycle places with essentially like a studio on your back. But sometimes I just want to go for a ride, like to the shop, and I've got to take a small item with me, or maybe just put one camera in my backpack and go out and take some photos or something. And heaving that massive tortoise shell around all the time is not ideal. So I got this, and it's a revelation. People always go on about Kriega bags that have them. You see a lot of them, and I really think they are that good. Again, not the cheapest item. These are 115 quid, I think, RRP, but it's just so comfortable. You barely know you're wearing it, and I think it's because of this clasp, which is, yeah, it just takes all of the weight off your shoulders and pulls the strap together. Also, it's pretty smart that that's quite a big buckle. It's not one of those tiny pinch buckles. It's like a big flat disc. So if you still got gloves on, but you just want to pop that open, you can do that. And also, if you forget to do it up and you set off when you stop at the lights, it's easy enough, even with gloves on, just to get it into place. It's not got like hundreds of features, and there's a front pocket for your wallet and phone and stuff. There's the main pocket, which is 15 litres, hence the name R15. There is a small divider so that you can put a back protector in there, and I think you can also attach to some of these straps, you know, another pack to it if you wanted to expand the capacity a bit. But the beauty of it for me is like it's so small and unnoticeable that it's just ideal. If you've got loads of stuff to carry, like commuting, it probably wouldn't be enough if you were taking a change of clothes and that kind of thing. But for those little photography runs, and if you're just going on a Sunday ride but want to take whatever, you know, bits and bobs, a sandwich perhaps, or a packet of Monster Munch. It's absolutely, yeah, it's brilliant. Like I say, not that cheap, but I can see myself getting many years of use out of it because it's awesome and it feels really well made. Anyway, that's my favorite gear that I'm using at the moment. Love to hear your tips. Have you got any new gear recommendations, anything you've bought recently that's worth checking out? Post them in the comments and I'll have a look. And if you're new here, as always, and you want to see more videos like this, hit subscribe and I'll catch you next time.